Now in the deep end, first responders are trained to run toward crisis, but the stress of that work doesn't end when the call is over. That's why the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission operates the First Responder Wellness Program. Our state is one of the only ones to offer this kind of program, making us a leader in taking care of our heroes. Steve's down in the Arc Lounge right now with Tory Green, the program's manager, to learn more. Steve.
And Tyra, Tory and I were just talking about that we're so happy that we're putting a spotlight on this program, because I feel like, Tory, this is an issue that doesn't get talked about a lot. So for viewers that have never heard of this before, talk about what this program is and why was it created in the first place?
Yeah, so the First Responder Wellness Program was the result of House Bill 2311 that came out in the legislative session in 2024, and it was established to more effectively address the issues around, post-traumatic stress and suicide in first responders. And so it was championed by Representative Lauren Davis and some others, and it includes a task force of about 28 folks. It's really in total about 70 people that we meet with monthly, and there's subject matter experts that we meet to talk about the gaps in need around this issue, and then try and fill that. And then it has a ton of different options for training for first responders across the state.
I know that when we talk about like the issue of PTSD, for a lot of people, what comes to mind is maybe somebody who's served in the military, who's done something overseas, somebody who's had a traumatic brain injury and has PTSD. But when you're talking about first responders, firefighters, police, what have you, how does something like that affect them?
Yeah, in very much the same way, in just a different environment, right? And so, first responders go out and see like the worst of everyone else's experiences on a regular basis in the rawest form, and those images and experiences stay with you for the rest of your life, very much like veterans of war. The difference, I think, with first responders is that when you're a veteran, you have those experiences somewhere else, and then you go home. But first responders, that occurs in your home space, in the places where you go to a restaurant or to the grocery store, or on any given street that you drive down. So it's a constant reminder of the experiences that you had, and so I think, in my opinion, a bit more difficult to kind of get out of that.
Are there warning signs that are the same?
Yeah, absolutely. So, people will start to, isolate, depression, drink more, all those types of things that you would think of. I would say that any time that a first responder starts to behave in a way that's outside of their norm, that's a concern, right? Unexplained reason for that, you should be really looking into whether or not they had something that happened that caused some post-traumatic stress.
And if it's not dealt with, as you and I were talking about during the commercial break, severe circumstances lead to suicide.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So how does this program work?
Yeah, so basically peer support is about having people who, first responders, and I'll use firefighters as an example, they go on a call. When they experience something significant, they, by nature of their work, go back to the fire station and they talk about it. Right?
Okay.
Either officially or unofficially. Peer support basically maximizes that connection with those people, so it takes the people that are already in those conversations, trains them to better recognize when somebody is actually significantly or abnormally impacted by something, and then it gives them the resources to get them connected with more appropriate long-term professional resources.
And I understand that this program also includes some outreach for like agency leaders, even family members too. And why is that an important part of the equation here?
Yeah, I personally don't think a peer support team can be successful without support from the organization. And so, leaders of organizations, police chiefs, fire chiefs, sheriffs, executive directors of dispatch centers, all of those folks need to have an understanding that the role that they play and the way that they talk about and view peer support can greatly impact the success of that program. And so we offer training for those folks to give them that information. And we also know that the people who are most impacted when someone is suffering are the people that they live with. And so we try to give those folks an understanding of the experiences that those people their first responder loved one is having, and then the connection to the resources. So when they recognize that person needs help, they can get them connected to the resources.
What's the impact of this so far, do you think?
It's in high demand. It's a great program being offered by the CJTC. I think, like many other programs, it's been well received, and more importantly, you know, we're seeing people from across the state, agencies from across the state, asking for this training so that they can get their folks trained up. And so I think the biggest thing is we're breaking the stigma of, you know, people being afraid to seek help, and we're giving them a pathway to be able to do that, and they're availing themselves of that.
Making something available that seems like it was highly important and
Absolutely.
very much a need out there.
Yeah.
Tory, thanks very much
thank
for
you.
putting a spotlight on this, and appreciate it very much.
Thanks
Obviously
for the
helping so many different first responders across our state, Tyra, that need that type of program in the situations they see every single day.
Yeah, their wellness is certainly a priority.
It is.
Thank you, Steve.